That was easier for me.
Oh my god. So we're here with Sam from McCone Properties, and just introduce yourself and just talk about how you started your business.
Sam McCone, been doing real estate now for 11 years here in Dubai. Set up the business about 9.5 years ago, back in a small office in Golden Diamond Park. I did it after having done real estate for 1 year. So even though the business was new, it was still a massive learning curve for me, not just doing the job of running a company, but also still doing real estate itself.
Yeah.
So very interesting time. And I remember, some of the absolute basic things were coming back at me, and, how to open a bank account and all these little things, which were very difficult in the beginning. I think one of the biggest celebrations I had was when I got my first visa, because it was just so damn tough to get anything through. That's 9 years ago, and obviously a lot's changed in that time, but it's been quite a fun journey.
Yeah, so you obviously grew up in Dubai, so you obviously knew the area, so kind of learning things like that weren't any new to you, or?
Yes and no. So I grew up in Dubai. We moved here when I was 2 years old. My dad worked for Emirates, and so I was actually here until the age of 13. And then I went to a tennis academy in Barcelona, and I lived there for the next 9 years. So I used to come back to Dubai every sort of summer and Christmas, for a couple of weeks here and there. But when I was here, I was with my family, right? So that was also from 2000 and sort of 2002 to 2011 period. And that's obviously when a lot of the sort of real estate boom happened.
Yeah.
So when I left, Marina wasn't there, JLT, even where we are now in the Greens or downtown or any of those sort of communities, they didn't even exist, right? They were just patches of sand, or in the case of the Palm, they were just like ocean, right?
Yeah.
So quite interesting. So when I actually came back and I started real estate, I remember, I think my boss at the time, he asked me to go on raid and look at different communities and stuff. And I was like, I just remembered, oh my God, I don't actually know half this city.
It's all new. Every time you come and go, it's something else is popped
Yeah,
up.
so I think the one thing that actually probably helped me with my upbringing more than anything was I went to a school called Emirates International School in Jumeirah.
Yeah.
And I remember this stat used to float around the school that there was 160 different nationalities or something like that at the time. And we would, in our classroom, we would probably have, 15 different nationalities. And growing up with that, you got very used to dealing with people from different countries, right? And I think the transition to going into real estate, when I did in this city, when I compare myself to other people that maybe come from the UK or wherever it might be, that was easier for me. Understanding that, different cultures are going to think about stuff in a different way, or want to be treated a different way, or spoken to in a different way, I think was a big advantage for me.
I think that is a big skill in life. I grew up in like a tiny village in the middle of nowhere, and it was kind of like real white British traditions. Yeah. So it kind of gives you a lot more diversity, and it kind of allows you to understand lots of people live in different ways and work in different ways, and you can then adapt to obviously networking with people on a different level.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of the time I sort of get the question, my mom's from Belgium, my dad's from New Zealand. I was born in Australia, obviously grew up in Dubai, and then spent a good amount of time in Spain. So a lot of people say, well, where are you from? And I always say that I'm from New Zealand and Belgium, because that's where my parents are from. Those are the sports that I sort of follow and support. But home is Dubai, right? So obviously not a citizen of this country. I'll always, well, I don't know about always, but for now at least I'm an expat. But and they say, okay, it must be quite difficult not to have a home in that sense, not to, be from a place. And I think that's probably true. I think there is a big part that myself and my siblings are missing in that sense. But on the flip side to that, moving around for us is so easy.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the last sort of 2-3 years, my sister's moved back to, well, I say back, she's moved to New Zealand. It's the first time. My brother, one of my younger brothers, was in New Zealand for a year or so. He's now in LA with my older brother, and they're giving that a shot. My older brother, who's a pilot, he's sort of in the last 10 years, he's been in Bahrain, in Taiwan. He's now back in Dubai as well. So like for us, we have that as sort of a counterpart to not having a home or like a country where we really feel from. So it's interesting. And what I also notice now is that for us, it was normal. We grew up this way. For a lot of the people I associate with, it's not normal, but for their kids, it's going to be normal.
Yeah, I think it's something that's kind of developed, isn't it? A lot more people are open to traveling and kind of living in different countries for certain amounts of time. Yeah. Whereas a lot of older traditions of people, they kind of stay secluded and they just sort of live in their bubble of life and don't really see the rest of the world.
And obviously we've seen so many different nationalities come to Dubai in the last, in forever. But, since the pandemic, again, it's a new wave that's coming through now. And people really seem to want to make this home, and the initiatives that the government's doing with the 10-year visa and those kind of things, I think it's going to become very, very common for people to have my kind of upbringing with parents from different countries, with kids living in a country that's obviously not where they're from. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that all pans out, and I look forward to it.
Yeah. Do you think that's something that's kind of helped you create McCone as a brand to be slightly different from other real estate companies in Dubai?
That's actually very true. I mean, one of the big differences now we'll come on to it is there are a lot of traditional English companies in the business, right? And there are traditional Indian companies in the business. There are traditional Arabic companies in the business. But McCone is it's a mix of different nationalities. The investors and the owners are from different nationalities. The some of the directors are from different nationalities. So that's something that's very McCone. McCone is very Dubai compared to other companies in the business, which has a traditional model. So
I think obviously with our recruitment sort of drive, a big thing that I tell Sherv, and the guy that handles all of that, is that I want to keep that diversification going, and I want that diversification to be in different nationalities, also people coming from different backgrounds. Obviously there's a lot of movement between agents within companies, and I like to see people from different companies come, because everyone brings something new to the table. And it's and we've realized in the last couple of years, where we have grown the team quite a lot, just how valuable that can be, how much we can learn from someone that has a totally different way of doing things from us. And so as Anandu says, that's like a very sort of McCone thing that we're trying to obviously do for ourselves, but when we look at how we compare to others in the industry, it is different in that sense.
It's crazy to think as well that everyone's sort of so spread out and from all over the place, but there's still a very family community vibe that we still managed to keep within the company, isn't there? Even though kind of everyone's.
I think it's interesting how that's come about.
It's been very organic. It's not like something that we plan towards or something. It's just we gave opportunities to people, and people happen to be from different places. We never focused on being diverse. It's just diverse the way we are.
I mean, sometimes I'll come to the office and you see a group chatting, right, at the dining table or whatever, and you think to yourself, I don't see these 3 or 4 people clicking outside of the office. You don't imagine them being works. But here it's they're mates and everything, and I think they've got that one underlining thing in common, which is we're all having a crack at this. We're all sort of doing real estate and facing those
just
challenges.
Trying to kind of make it happen.
And it's really it's good to see that sort of happen, and for us that's really important to make sure that harmony and that sort of collaboration, all that continues. And even though we are looking to continue to grow, it's a big thing that we want to be careful about. We don't want to lose that thing that we've got, because it does actually, it does feel quite special. It's again, I can't really say how we put it together because there wasn't a great strategy or anything. But whatever we've got, we just need to work.
It's something that I noticed like very early on and joining the company, and it's kind of now something that everyone says. And I think it's in a lot of job situations, you just go to work, they don't really care about you, or they're not really bothered about kind of how you feel within an environment. Whereas it's very different when you come and work here, and it's like the whole family orientated vibe, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. And you know, we've had a lot of feedback in the last couple of years from the agents that have been here and the agents that have gone. You know, obviously this is an industry that has a high turnover. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are, you know, that
and
trying.
It's not for everyone.
Exactly. So they'll come over and they'll come from the UK or wherever it might be, and it doesn't work out. And you know, we try to maintain that relationship with them, and we ask them, okay, you know, what was it? And inevitably, it's maybe a financial issue, or the job wasn't for them, or whatever it was. But we do get good feedback from them. We do hear that they enjoyed their time with the company, and they enjoyed like everyone that was here. And you know, we even hear about it. Like one small thing, which is like really cool from my perspective, is that, you know, we had someone that left, I think it was last month or so, and a bunch of the guys and girls in the office, they got together and they threw him a leaving do. And that was, it wasn't like a big event or whatever, but it was nice that, you know, they, even though they only knew each other for a couple of months, they obviously were sad to see him go. And
because it's like in a workplace, you spend more time with the people that you work with than you do a lot of your friends. So you kind of then get to know people on a sort of probably slightly deeper level than you would with a lot of your friends. Yeah. So it's nice that they kind of...
Yeah, and again, also for a lot of, especially the sort of the new people, and especially the ones that are coming from overseas, they come, brand new country.
Yeah, it's hard.
You know, they have to, I mean, you did it not too long ago, right? And whereas like Ananda and myself, again, having grown up here, and we have that sort of those roots within the city. And so I think they gravitate towards each other.
Yeah, they're in it together, right?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to like cold call and go through all the hardships of being in the new city together.
Like it's hard. It's hard.
You know, so obviously that connects them on a deeper level, which is why, like Sam mentioned, you know, they do like leaving dues and stuff like that. So, you know, that's a great part about the company. You have like different sets of people that are in it together. They feel like they're working towards a goal, you know, like it's at Sam and I and a couple of the guys been here for a while, so we feel a certain type of way. And then the new people that are in it together to crack on real estate. So,
and some people are so young, like that decide to like move over. They're still like babies, and I think it must be so hard.
Yeah, I think to be honest, you know, it's no secret that Dubai real estate has like a lot of young agents. Again, I was 22 when I started as well. You know, it's actually, from my perspective, I think it's a great thing. I think if we look at sort of the world today, there's so many companies that ask for experience and they ask for this and that. And the reality is that, you know, if you just finished university and, you know, the job market hasn't exactly been easy since probably the financial crash in 2008. And doing real estate offers that sort of segue, right? To do something different, to build up your net worth essentially. And here in Dubai in particular, I think Dubai is quite special because within a very short period of time, you can go from, you know, doing rentals, you know, in like small units or whatever it might be, to like, I think of someone like Hannah who joined us, it was August last year. And, you know, she started by doing apartment rentals in Dubai Hills, you know, 1 bedrooms, about 50,000 dirhams, you know, making 2,500 dirhams, you know, per deal, and many of them even less because it might have been a shared deal. She went from doing that, and now she's, you know, negotiating on 11.5 million dirham villa. And we're talking about, you know, 9 months
she's got a 50 mil exclusive.
Oh yes. And that's the, like, how many jobs out there, you know, can you get into at a young age with no experience, and then, you know, transition so quickly into being able to do that kind of thing. And obviously someone like Hannah, she has done a good number of sales, but if she pulls these ones off, I mean, some of the commissions can be, life-changing in the sense that, it can, start to offer you an entirely different approach to what you can do, what you can buy, where you can go, etc. So it's, and that's what I really love about this job, is that it offers that opportunity to young people. Also, you see a lot of people who have been in different industries, and then, a great example is the pandemic. So obviously we know that aviation, hospitality, a lot of those industries were just devastated.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot of those people come into something like real estate. And we hired a pilot as well as a few cabin crew. I know that a lot of other companies hired a lot more of them because they were more set up at that time to sort of take in that group, and many of those people are actually not going back. So a pilot who is on a very, very good salary at Emirates with very good benefits, they're actually being offered that job again, and it's a great job. My brother does it, my dad did it. And I know that there's a lot of positives, but there's obviously a lot of positives in this kind of industry if there's people willing to give up that sort of security to continue doing this.
Yeah. And I think the thing that attracts a lot of people is how you can network with so many different people, and you can meet so many different kind of walks of life and stuff like that, which when I go out with agents and stuff like that, it's so nice to meet so many different people from all over the world and kind of get to know their stories and what they actually do and how they've kind of ended up here, which I think attracts a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I again, like as agents, we spend a lot of time selling ourselves, like our services, what we do, what we bring to the table. But we always have this amazing product that we can attach to what we're offering, So real estate is there for everyone. Everyone needs a roof over their head, whether they're a tenant or whether they're looking to buy a place for themselves or an investment. So it brings this sort of, again, this unique opportunity to sort of add something to that conversation. And I remember, like, I really struggled with it at first when I started the job. I remember, when I was at school and at uni, like I got good grades, I thought I was going to do something quite special with my life, etc. And then, I needed a job, and it was my dad who said, why don't you give real estate in Dubai a go? And I, obviously I started it, and it took me a good couple of years to really say, no, this is actually a really exciting career. Because at first I was like, I wouldn't say I was embarrassed to say I was a real estate agent, but
there's a stigma to it.
Yeah, there's a stigma, there's a lot of people who are like, I know for a fact that, my dad thought I could do more, right? But after a while, I started to realize that, wait a minute, I'm actually helping people make pretty big decisions, and depending on the work that I do, that can either go really good or wrong. And then you look at a lot of other careers where maybe the stigma's a little bit better, people sort of look up to it a little bit, and then you really think, okay, well, what are they actually doing? And it might not be that great. So I'm sort of really changed my tune on that, and I think that's probably a good thing now that I'm actually doing what I'm doing. But I mean, long story short, real estate's really exciting. Again, having done it for 11 years now, and I don't see myself changing anytime soon in that sense.
So what does Beyond the Sale mean to you?
So as a company, as a real estate company, the first thing I would say is that the sale is actually everything. Like, this is actually something, I'll get to Beyond the Sale afterwards, but this is something that I was thinking about the wrong way in the past. As a real estate agent, your job is to sell the property. Your job is to deliver on that front. So an owner gives you a property, to sell. You've got to do everything in your means to get that property sold. Everything else comes secondary. Customer service, blah, blah, blah. Really, if you're able to deliver on that front, you're delivering the service that the owner has sort of mandated you to do. And the same thing goes on the buying side, right? If a client comes to you and they say that they want a 3-bedroom villa for X amount, you got to go out there, you got to find that property, you got to make it happen. That's the sale. Same thing, obviously, in the rental market as well. But having said that, there's obviously a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And there's a lot that can be handled in a very different way across different companies here in Dubai. And that's what really matters to us as well. So Beyond the Sale kind of tackles two things for us. The first is with the clients, right? So when we sell a property, we want to make sure that the clients feel that they're getting that sort of relationship with us that goes past, the actual transaction. So, ideally we would, and in many cases we actually become friends with our clients.
It's about building a relationship.
Exactly.
A network and
So it's sort of, okay, we've done the transaction, but have we followed through? Have we helped them get the property rented? Have we, put them in touch with the right people so that they can get their garden looking great? Have they, all of these little things that come to mind? And, we don't want to be that company where the sale happens and you can no longer reach the agent, right? So there's a big drive for us to continue to be that way, because we've always been that. The flip side to that as well is that within the company. So again, we touched on culture earlier, and I've seen a few things online, and I've heard from other people who have worked in other companies that there can sometimes be a bit of sort of a sharky mentality between agents, right? Again, because the sale is everything, it's sort of the ends justify the means, right? So you've got to do what needs to be done to get the sale. And again, I agree with that to an extent, right? Everything's got an opportunity cost. So if someone in this company, goes and gets a sale done, but by doing so, they've really gone behind the backs of other people who are in the company, that's not okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people want to treat it as a very dog-eat-dog industry, don't they? And they don't really care who they kind of walk over or kind of who they have to snake and go behind the backs of people to kind of, just as long as they get their commission.
Yeah, I mean, God, there was a show that came out recently, and one of the clips to sort of promote it was, I don't know what it was called, but how to steal a deal, and at first I thought, okay, I mean, it is kind of part of the industry. Again, it's competitive, right? You've got to go out there, and if there's a property, that another agent is working on, and you're able to get in there with the owner and sort of get that property and sell it, that's the way it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then as I watched the clip and I realized they were talking about within their own company, I honestly just thought, no, that's awful. I just don't think that's something I would want to be celebrating.
No.
Again, that company has achieved a hell of a lot more than we have. So fair play, right? There's a lot of improvements that we need to make so that we can even be close to that, and that's what we're working towards. But we don't want to, if it takes us longer to get there because we stick to what we believe in, then we will, right? So that's sort of what it means, right? So beyond the sale, again, I really do have to say that the sale is really, really paramount. I also, because on the flip side, in the past, we used to be that nice company that didn't deliver. So I would put one of our agents in touch with an owner, and a couple months later the owner would message me and say, hey, this person was great, it's a shame that we couldn't sell the property through them, but they were always very responsive, and I know they tried their best. I don't want that either.
No, it's finding the balance.
Exactly. So that's what we're working on now. So we're very much working to become better service provider and keeping that side of it.
That's the tough thing, right? Being as competitive as some of these other companies while maintaining that right culture. And that's what we're trying to achieve. And that's what sets us apart from all these other companies as well. Even when we grow, even when we plan to scale to a bigger company, we want to actually keep our culture and a consistent culture, and while scaling across the company. So for agents out there, or people out there, that's something that you need to look into when you're joining a company as well. Is it a competitive company to work in, so you can maximize your commissions, but at the same time, are they a good fit for you culturally as well? So that's what beyond the sale means to us.
I think a lot of the times we've had that discussion, and sometimes I kind of just wish I was a little bit more of a dick. Like, to be honest, I just do. Like, it would make my job a hell of a lot easier. I think one thing that we could say is, you know, with this podcast and everything, again, the idea is to bring to light on a deeper level a little bit of what the company's about. So I openly say to people, the journey that I've had over these last 2 years, there's a podcast that Allsop and Allsop do, and they're taking care of business, I think it's called. And I've listened to every episode, and I've actually really enjoyed it because I got to see what a big company does to get where they got, right? And that was, I learned so much about it because I'd obviously never been on that journey. So what we want to do with this podcast is we want to bring to life that kind of journey for ourselves as well, but also maybe bring in other people as well. So agents that are brand new, maybe have people who haven't had it that easy, who maybe still struggling today, right? It's like, what's that like? What's it like to move over to Dubai, you know, feel like you've been sold the dream, not by us, and then coming here and realizing that it's not, you know, it's not selling sunset. You know, that's not the
You see that whole clown thing and you think you're just going to walk straight into it.
Exactly. So we're, you know, we want the podcast to be about that. So it's not just going to be me rambling on, but rather, you know, get some of the other people within the company and talking about loads of different stuff.
Yeah, not just real estate, just other things as well. Like whatever interests them. We're open to it as a company to be on the podcast as well.
And I think if there is anyone out there that watches or listens to these podcasts and they do have a question or they do have like something that they would like to see addressed, they can let us know, and we will, you know, obviously if we feel that it could be a right fit in that, we'll do so. So I think that's really important as well. Like, we don't just want this to be sort of a marketing play or whatever it might be, but just to put it out there so that people really get a better understanding of what this company is about.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.